This next trio of poems are all written about real people and significant events in their lives. The first is called The Girl Inside, and is for Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn auditioned on her knees for the success that finally came. Discarded by Daddy, but eager to please, it was easy enough to change her name. Born with all the cards and playing with ease, you could still slip and lose the game, because that's what it was, just a tease, but you got too close to the flame. The price was far too high, rewards too cheap, though it had been your childhood dream. There was too much at stake for you not to keep that part alive that's not all it might seem. How cruel that such a dreamer could never sleep, though your smile suggested you'd still got the cream. The pills weren't razors, but they cut as deep, as yet another doctor joined your team. With curves that matched a dollar sign and megawatts of smile, a hometown queen, Hollywood design and Geminian style, you took the steps to reach the heights, from force's sweetheart to fantasy bride, but the climb that put your name in lights just broke the girl inside. With so much to give but more to hide, you wrote down secrets you could never share. The diary was always by your side, with all the names of those who ceased to care. It went missing from your room the night you died. Kennedy and Lawford swore they were never there. Overdose or murder looked like suicide, the bedside cabinet and your body bare. With curves that matched a dollar sign and megawatts of smile, a hometown queen, Hollywood design and Geminian style, you took the steps to reach the heights, from force's sweetheart to fantasy bride, but the climb that put your name in lights just broke the girl inside. She said, if you can't handle me at my worst, you sure as hell don't deserve me at my best. And so with all your blessings you were cursed, and so few could stay the course or stand up to the test. Said stars always look lonely in the sky, and higher up the loneliness just grows. You left us with so many questions why. DiMaggio used to bring a single rose. It was clearly not for you the time to die. Without the truth, it's a door that just won't close. We can't get straight answers from the FBI, but the big picture no one fully knows. This next one was written for an Australian songwriter called Tony Cole, whom I was lucky enough to meet in 1977. His album, If the Music Stops, contains some great songs, including Man and Woman and Napoleon and Josephine, which are both referenced in what was originally a song, which I sang to him a couple of weeks after we met. I suspect no one ever enjoyed or understood it as much as he did, but years after he died I managed to send a copy to his wife via his daughter, who keeps in touch with his many fans via the internet, and apparently it was much appreciated. It's called Staying in Jamaica. Now, I don't blame you for staying in Jamaica. You can make a fortune stepping out of clothes, and you're one step closer to the movie maker. But I wonder, can you really hold the pose? It's ironic that within the world of fantasy, you've found an art that's hanging on his wall. You paint, design, and weave a kind of tapestry that's by far the most creative work of all. No, I don't blame you for staying in Jamaica. It's like the man said, we all love to act. But it gets so hard to see when you're a faker, the line between the fiction and the fact. I remember once he told me your ambition, long before you said you'd be his wife. To act and find yourself was your whole mission. He said, damn me, I've been acting all my life. He's been taking risks and making discs. Now he's broke in Ladbroke Grove. Not a model life for a model wife, but that's just the way it goes. And all the folks back home say, what a loss to education, with his man and woman themes and dreams. But frustration and ambition make a greater obligation to creative hearts still bursting at the seams. So I don't blame you for staying in Jamaica, to get yourself together your own way. You've got a head start, but you know that it can take a large part of forever and a day. And through his eyes you spend your whole life living on a pedestal up high, just like a queen. To complete the part, he has to be forgiving and play Napoleon to your Josephine. He's run out of rhymes 100 times while just reaching for the top, and writes to fight the frightened night if the music ever stops. He's tried building walls around him, but it's never any good. There's so much to give, he clings to everything. They crumble just like papier-mâché in a film of Robin Hood. A Scorpio can't give all, and that's the sting. So I don't blame you for staying in Jamaica, to play fair to the Mayfair in your style. To reach the heights you have to be a taker. You pay the fare with every painted smile. Jet-setter marriages are quite exotic. Bed-sitter images are more his line. The poetic frame of mind is more quixotic, but it's wearing thin now after all this time. So I don't blame you for staying in Jamaica. You, like Garbo, want to be alone. Picking up the bit parts as heartbreaker. There's a heartache you could mend at home. Please come back home. And this final one was written in August of 2018, although the events took place in France in 1993, and it's a true story about someone called Veronique. I thought I'd had my last good chance when I left England behind me and made my way to the south of France, where maybe some new luck could find me. And Marie-Jo had heard me singing through the walls of her apartment, and as the man she should be bringing was away then, it just meant, as a friendly gesture, to invite me along, to spend the day together in the mountains. And my only contribution was an occasional song for a group of friends on a works outing. A meal in Antibes together brought the day to an end. They all made me feel so welcome and unique. I sat between Marie-Jo and her closest friend, the focus of my attention, Veronique. She wrote her number on a serviette as her friends cut pizza into slices. But I wasn't sure if I should call her yet, as my life seemed full of new surprises. But like the new fallen snow, she looked so pure, and like the mountain slopes beyond my reach. But back in her apartment, I was still not sure, but prepared to learn whatever she might teach. My decision was to leave later that night, but I met with some French resistance. And everything that happened in the early morning light was entirely at her own sweet insistence. But I knew that there was something back in Paris in her past, and it wasn't only one thing, but this one might be the last. She and her lover shared a needle, but it was he alone who died. And she just felt she didn't need to tell me, and swore she never lied. But the money that went missing from my jacket was the clue. She claimed it was just to buy a present for her maman. But the medicine she bought that night just to get her through was a cash transaction in a phone box. Oh, come on. And when it came down to the reckoning, she had all her lines rehearsed. She claimed she'd not touched my credit card, so it could have been much worse. And from the big disease with the little name, she seemed to be immune. So she kept her secret in her crazy game and continued to assume that she only took what she really needed to get her through the night. My condemnation she barely heeded and still thought she was right. The all clear from the blood test was a bloody great relief, but my blindness from the sun and snow still seems beyond belief. But a user is a user. She knew how to use a man, and I offered something else she seemed to want. A chance to work reception at the Carlton down in Cannes, instead of all those hours in that restaurant. But they wanted fluent English in a letter of application, so she asked me if I'd help her to compose it, since she knew once in the job she could cope with any situation, with the charm she'd used on me, and she knows it. And about our night together, there was nothing much to say. A coy, quite guiltless smile is no apology. I suppose it was a lesson learned, but it's okay now anyway, and at least she's earned a place in my anthology.